interactive environmental health map. And so the Colorado EnviroScreen is a tool that highlights areas in Colorado that are experiencing higher environmental health injustices. And it also helps identify different areas that are disproportionately impacted communities. And so this enables the state to make better allocation of their resources, and better data-driven insights will lead to better results. And so that's just a few of the ways that technology is able to help identify the problem. But Johannes, identifying the problem is really only part of the problem, right?
Well, it's the start of the battle, Tiffany. Of course, you have to start with measuring, mapping, and monitoring, as what they are suggesting. But after that, you'll have to gather ideas, turn those into plans, do some pilot projects, find funding, find staffing, and then execute the plans to protect our environment.
And during our Shift to Earth 4.0 webinar, we had Raj Kapoor as a guest on our series, and he has a wealth of knowledge. And he's the founder of India Blockchain Alliance. And there was a recent article in the New York Times, and it declared to its readers that a single Bitcoin transaction now requires over 2,000 kilowatt hours of electricity, which is enough energy to power the average American household for 73 to 78 days. And so I found that shocking. And the deeper I dug, the more I was really shocked at the results, because they ran simulations on blockchain and its carbon emissions model. And without any interventions, the annual energy consumption of Bitcoin blockchain in China alone would be 130.5 million metric tons of carbon emissions in a year. That is a lot of emissions. And so there has to be a way that we're going to get Bitcoin, blockchain, and all the other technologies that are using blockchain to be more efficient and to use green initiatives. Are you surprised by that statistic, Johannes?
No, unfortunately, I'm not. And it's because it's amazing, Tiffany. Just looking at the news that came out in April, and of course, in April we kept an eye on everything in environmental. CNN mentioned that the counties in Washington State, where a lot of crypto mining companies have set up shop, are reporting that up to 25% of the electricity consumption of the county goes to crypto mining. Second, Intel announced a second generation Bitcoin mining chipset for energy efficient hashing. So it's a big market. Big companies are jumping in it. And Tiffany, I'm not surprised that it's using that this is such a power hungry industry.
And crypto is really only one piece of the puzzle when it comes to the carbon emissions coming from blockchain. Let's take a look at NFTs. So they also contribute to damaging the environment. And how much carbon dioxide do NFTs produce? I was shocked. 83 kilograms of CO2, and that's just for adding an NFT to a blockchain. And then there's the amount of energy for mining it and minting it. And there are so many different things that go into these NFTs that to offset NFT energy consumption, one company said that more trees have to be planted. How many more trees? 1.37 trees for every NFT sale. Well, considering that there are 13 million worth of NFTs that have been sold to date, that's a lot of trees. And looking at just one artist, Snoop Dogg, he's got an NFT collection, and with 3,683 NFTs, that means he has to plant 5,050 trees. And if anyone could do it, I'm sure it's Snoop Dogg. But that's a lot of trees if you think of all of the different NFTs that are out there and how many more are just now coming to market and will come to market. It's really moving fast, and it's a lot of trees to plant. What do you think, Johannes?
Well, yeah, it's a lot of trees, Tiffany, and we need to take a serious look at eco-friendly NFTs and eco-friendly blockchains. And yes, that's a thing, eco-friendly NFTs. The Motley Fool has written an interesting article about this exact problem. We may have to move the NFTs off the Ethereum blockchain to get to more energy efficient solution. So I'm sure we'll hear more about eco NFTs and eco blockchains in 2022.
And Raj also talked about the metaverse during the webinar, and he said that it would take 1,000 times the energy we're currently using to power the metaverse. And When you're looking at AI, which is also power hungry, there's big data, there's all the data centers. Data has a carbon footprint. IoT has a much smaller carbon footprint, but it's still contributing. And we're launching all these technologies at once. So it almost seems, Johannes, like we need an industry 4.5 so we can just slow things down a little bit. What do you think?
I think we do. I mean, Industry 4.0, blockchain, crypto, and the tokens, NFTs, and the metaverse, versus, I should say, are here to stay, which means that each of these power-hungry industries has a major energy problem. So until we can move, or they can move the crypto mining and the energy-heavy operations to the moon, reducing the energy consumption has to be the first priority. So hitting the pause button, introducing Industry 4.5 with a heavy focus on energy reduction across the board needs to be on the table.
Well, I just think it's very important, especially with the commercialization of space happening. We've got the transition to electric happening, and it's all happening at once. And it takes energy to make energy. But when it comes to black carbon, which is a different kind of carbon, in India, they're experiencing black carbon. And Johannes, I know that you've read a lot about this too. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, there's an interesting article, and there was an interesting study done by the Texas A&M. So black carbon is a problem that we currently have in India. It's related to the air pollution that in India, which is really bad at the moment. But it impacts the start of the monsoon season. So on top of all the smog-related issues, health issues, etc., we are also seeing an impact on the also important monsoon season, which means we are impacting the climate on this planet in many different ways. And if I may make a quick segue into the war in the Ukraine, because even the war in Ukraine is having impact on the environment. One, because of supply chain issues caused by shortages in oil, in gas, in wheat, in corn, etc. At the same time, because Russia is shutting off the oil pipeline to certain countries, they are having to start up coal-fired electricity plants instead of gas or oil-fired electricity plants. So they have energy, but the bad thing is coal-fired electricity plants are worse for the environment. So again, war like the one that we have in Ukraine right now is also having a negative impact on the environment in many, many different ways.
And not only war, but militarization in general is also taking a toll on our environment. But when it comes to solutions, there are right and wrong ways of solving all these problems. And when it comes to the wrong way, I read a recent article by the Sierra Club, and it said the glimmer of hope lies in the fact that we already see what we're doing wrong so that we can try to avoid it. And I think that that's what has to happen because we've seen the mistakes that industry 1, 2, and 3 have made. So, how do we make industry 4 different? And I feel that a large part of what we're seeing is that it's just this exhaustion of our natural resources. And so we really have to use them wisely. I mean, most of these technologies use rare earth minerals, and there is not an unlimited supply of these things. And do you feel that recognizing where we've made mistakes is going to be an important part of our solution, Johannes, as we move forward through all of this?
Well, we can and we should learn from mistakes that we made in the past. One, we cannot afford to keep making the same mistake. Each and every time we'll pay a penalty in terms of waste and pollution. And two, we are way beyond the point where we can just sweep waste and pollution under the carpet. So yes, we have to learn from all the mistakes that we made in the past.
And another story that caught my attention is that 25 of the world's tallest buildings are all under construction right now as we're going through all of these different climate crises. There's also 25 of the largest buildings, tallest buildings being built right now. And these buildings cause a lot of harm to the environment because A, it takes a lot of additional resources to build something so tall, but it also takes a lot of energy in order to cool it because it sits higher in the atmosphere. So it's going to heat faster, which is going to be more of a drain on our energy and resources. And Johannes, what are your thoughts on that?
So there are a lot of studies that look at the impact of high-rise buildings on the environment. And one study that I came across investigated urban planning scenarios and looked at the differences between high density, low density, high rise, and low rise scenarios. And each time the low rise scenarios gave better results. So yes, low rise buildings, not high rise buildings, but low rise buildings are really the future.
I mean, these are not even reasonably sized buildings. This is 80 or 100 floors tall, which is in some cases up to 2,500 feet high. So it's very, very tall buildings. And greening cement and steel could be one path forward as for future buildings and how we can build a little more sustainable. And of course, we have to mention renewables and the push for electrification. And so in states such as California, they're unveiling new proposed laws for banning new gas powered vehicles. But Californians are also gearing up to fight the emissions crisis by deflating the tires of SUVs. And deflating the tires of an SUV is not going to solve the climate crisis because it's just going to take more energy to reinflate the tire, and they're still going to be driving. That's one of the wrong ways, I think, about going about it. What do you think, Johannes?
Yes, I would agree, Tiffany. That's the wrong way, and that's the opposite of what we want to achieve. So, but while we're here, while we're talking about electric vehicles, did you hear about Elon Musk? And what do you think about him buying Twitter for a whopping 44 billion?
How could I miss that news? It's been all over the news. And and in the fight for EVs and energy, there's intermittent availability of solar and wind. And while the idea of electrification seems great and seems feasible, the world it's in climate transition, and I've talked about the grand solar minimum slightly when I was talking about the little ice age, but that's all apart, and we're just so dangerously close to reaching these temperatures that could put us in that kind of a position. So we by building 25 of the tallest buildings in the world all right now, we really have to pick and choose what initiatives are really important to focus on. And what are you seeing for when it comes to renewables, Johannes?
I think renewables are well, we've made a lot of progress with renewables. I'm based in Texas, and also Texas is an energy state, and Texas has a lot of renewable energy. So we have a lot of wind energy, we have a lot of solar energy. So it is the future. It is helping reduce the oil dependency. So it's the way to go forward for sure.
Excellent. And for anyone that happened to miss our Shift to Earth 4.0 webinar, you can watch it on demand on our website. If you go to iotmktg.com, you can find it there. And you can also find it in our new Industry Insights webinars community. And our new community is a chance for you to watch all of our content anytime you like, as well as to download all of our available information. We have slide decks, infographics, and downloads from partners. We also have partner offers, and you can engage in our forums. So it's a great opportunity to further expand your knowledge on the Internet of Things, and you can check that out by going to iiwcommunity.com. Do you have anything to share about our new community, Johannes?
As you mentioned, we have great content available. We've developed a lot of content over the past 2 years. I'm not going to repeat what you said, but yeah, videos, blogs, infographics, you name it, we have it. So we have a really rich content hub for our community to study, catch up on latest trends and in technology trends and market trends. So feel free to check it out. It's a great content hub.
And you can do a free 30-day trial. So there's no reason not to check it out. So that's iiwcommunity.com. And we also have several webinars coming up in the works that we are looking for speakers, sponsors, and advertisers for. And also, you're welcome to attend these webinars as well. We will be talking about connected skies in May, where we will take a look at SATCOM as well as drones and UAVs. And in June, we will be talking about the connected future of food. And in July, we will be hosting the Made to Order webinar about 3D printing and additive manufacturing. And the future of connectivity will be taking place in August, where we will look at what is going to fuel the billions of devices coming out, as well as all of our communications. And in September, we will be hosting the Summit of Things, which is an all-day event, and it is a summit focused solely on the Internet of Things. And so we have lots of opportunities to participate in that. And we also have a special on our lead generation, and that's starting at only $5.97. So if you're interested in being a speaker, sponsoring, or advertising on our content, be sure to go to iotmktg.com and look at our available opportunities. And Johannes, do you have anything you want to share about our upcoming events?
Um, I think all our events, well, all our events are great. We are raising the bar every month. The events are getting better month after month. We also offer, on top of the events, of course, we also offer a wide range of services to help businesses in the tech space reaching their target audience and generating genuine interest for the product and service offered by our clients. So visit our website to schedule a free 30-minute consultation while you're looking at events that are coming up. But also check out, let us discuss how we can help you achieve your business and marketing initiatives.
And we also have blogs on our website where you can learn more about all of these topics that we discuss in our webinar series, as well as other important topics that are just valuable to the industry as a whole. So be sure to check those out too. And yes, be sure to take a look at our services. We have plenty of ways that we can help you meet your business and marketing initiatives. And I think that pretty much wraps things up for now. We'll be sharing more news about Connected Skies during the webinar taking place on May 26th. So be sure to register to attend that. And you can do so at iotmktg.com/register for easy access there. And any final words you want to share, Johannes, as we close things up?
It's going to be a great webinar again, Connected to Skies. We have great speakers lined up, great blogs coming out. It's a very interesting topic space. There's a lot that we need to cover, so we will do our utmost best to cover as much as we can. So please attend the webinar and come to learn what's happening in the sky, not just with drones, but also in the SATCOM space. So it's a great event. Looking forward to seeing everybody at the end of this month.
And if you have topics that you'd like us to cover in any of our webinars or as a webinar, drop us a note, leave us a comment. We'd love to know what you thought of our IoT news segment and also what you'd like to hear about in future webinars and IoT news editions. So thank you everyone for tuning in. Have a wonderful day, and we will see you on Thursday, May 26th at Connected Skies. Thanks everyone. Thanks, Johannes.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Tiffany.
Drones are no longer just another consumer electronic for hobbyists. And to say that drones are smart would be quite the understatement. Drones and satellites are being developed using advanced technologies, which will disrupt the way we live, work, and make decisions. Join Industry Insights webinars as we turn our eyes to the sky in a live event focused on drones, satellites, and the industry problems they solve. Discussion topics include the difference between drones and UAVs, industries using drones with real-world examples and applications, challenges for the widespread adoption of drones, how the satellite communications market is evolving, and predictions for where we see these industries headed. Register now to join us for the Connected Skies webinar on Thursday, May 26th, 2022. Brought to you by IoT Marketing